my name is Idris, and I used to believe the dark web was just stories told to scare people who didn't know computers. I laughed at the warnings, brushed them off as paranoia from people who didn't understand how technology really worked. I thought the talk of hackers watching through cameras or secret streams of horror was nothing more than modern campfire stories, told to keep curious minds like mine away from places we weren't meant to go. I thought I was too smart to fall for that kind of thing, too logical, too careful. I told myself that I would never get caught in anything I couldn't control. But curiosity is a dangerous thing when you mix it with arrogance. It disguises itself as intelligence, whispers that you're not like the others, that you can peek behind the curtain and come back untouched. That's what I believed. It started innocently enough. I wasn't searching for anything dark or forbidden. I was doing research for a school project about hidden networks, about how anonymity worked online. I wanted to impress my professor, to show that I understood not just the surface, but the shadows beneath it. At first I stayed where it was safe, discussion boards full of hackers boasting about stolen data, old school forums that felt like digital relics from the early internet. People posted about exploits, encryption, data leaks. It was illegal, sure, but not terrifying. It was the kind of place that made you feel clever for finding it, not scared. But the longer I stayed, the more those places started to change. The tone of the conversations shifted. Threads appeared that weren't about data or money, but about things no one could verify. Hidden experiments, secret live streams, things that blurred the line between rumor and nightmare. And slowly the strange corners of the net began to whisper back to me. I found usernames that seemed to follow me from forum to forum, accounts that would respond to my posts seconds after I hit send. Sometimes I would log into a board I'd never used before and find my own comments there. Things I'd never written, posted under my name. It should have scared me off, but it didn't. It fascinated me. I told myself it was a glitch, a quirk of the system. But somewhere deep down, I felt it. Something was watching me from behind the code. That's when I found the first real mention of it. The name that would echo in my head for nights afterward. The Red Room. A myth whispered across forums, half warning, half temptation. A story about a secret stream where people paid to watch things and no one was supposed to see. The descriptions were vague, contradictory. Some said it was live torture. Others claimed it was a psychological experiment, a place where reality bent for those who entered. Everyone said it wasn't real. A boogeyman for hackers. A ghost story for the overly curious. I told myself I was just trying to prove it wasn't true, that I was debunking an urban legend, but that wasn't the full truth. The truth was I wanted to see how close I could get. For days, I searched. Each forum led me deeper, each link a door that opened just enough to glimpse something darker beyond it. I felt the thrill of discovery each time I uncovered another mention, another encrypted message referencing the stream, the room, the watchers. My browser history became a map of obsession. URLs that disappeared hours after visiting, posts that deleted themselves as I scrolled. I told myself it was research, but it was more than that. It was hunger. I wanted proof that the myth had a face. The night everything changed, I was sitting in my room with only the light of the monitor painting my hands blue. My eyes burned from hours of staring at code, and the world outside had gone quiet. That's when I found it. A thread buried so deep it felt like it wasn't meant to be seen. No flashy title, no bait, just a plain message that said, "You think the Red Room is fake? Click here." I stared at it for a long time, my cursor hovering over the link. I knew better. Every part of my mind screamed not to do it. I thought of every warning, every story I'd ever read about people who went too far into the dark web and never came back. But curiosity wins more battles than courage ever does. I told myself it was just another hoax, another clever trick to scare people like me. I told myself I'd click, prove it was fake, and move on. So I followed the link. The screen went black for only a second, but it felt like an eternity. Then it flashed red, bright, pulsing, alive. Lines of code spilled down the monitor, flickering like veins glowing under translucent skin. The air around me seemed to hum with energy, the sound of electricity crawling through the walls. My reflection warped in the glossy surface of the screen, distorted by the pulsing crimson light. A chat window appeared out of nowhere, text blinking in perfect rhythm with my heartbeat. Someone typed, "Welcome, Idris." My breath hitched. My stomach dropped hard, the way it does when you miss a step in the dark. I hadn't entered my name anywhere. I hadn't even logged in. My fingers hovered above the keyboard, trembling. I wanted to believe it was coincidence, a random username pulled from somewhere, but before I could even move, another message appeared, faster this time. "Stay, you've already been seen." Something in those words pierced me in a way no threat ever had. It wasn't a warning. It was a statement of fact, calm and final. I felt my throat tighten. Then the screen changed again. A new window opened, this one showing a live feed. At first glance it didn't look like much, just a small, dimly lit room with concrete walls, a single metal chair in the middle, and a red light swinging slowly overhead, casting long, restless shadows that danced with each sway. It should have been ordinary, even boring, but there was something wrong about the stillness, the way the shadows moved like they had weight. I leaned closer, squinting. The hum from my laptop grew louder, and the red light from the feed seemed to seep through the screen, bleeding into the corners of my own room. I blinked hard, thinking my eyes were playing tricks on me. Then my desk lamp flickered. The light overhead buzzed once, then turned the same shade of red. My entire room was drenched in it, the same hue from the video, the same pulse, as if the two spaces had merged. Panic clawed its way up my spine. I tried to shut the laptop down, hammering the escape key, then the power button, but nothing responded. Every key froze beneath my fingers. The trackpad stuttered. Then the small white dot beside my webcam blinked on. My heart skipped. I knew what that light meant. It meant the camera was active. I stared at the screen, and what I saw made my skin crawl. The monitor had gone dark, but in the faint reflection I could see my face, illuminated by that pulsing red glow. And then for a split second I saw my reflection smile, but I hadn't moved. The speakers, the air filled with static like a radio tuned to a dead channel, and through it a voice whispered my name. Not loud, not clear, but low and intimate, like breath against my ear. "Now you're part of it." I lurched back, heart pounding. Panic burned in my chest, raw and frantic. I yanked the power cord from the wall, sparks snapping as it came free, but nothing changed. The screen stayed lit, the red glow unwavering. The feed flickered, then shifted again. The same concrete room, the same chair, but now the chair was empty. The camera began to move, panning slowly, deliberately, until another lens came into view. A second camera, staring back, its reflection catching someone hunched over a computer. It was me. I froze. Every breath, every twitch of my fingers, every movement I made was mirrored on screen, but just a second delayed, as if I were watching a recording of the present. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. I reached out, and the version of me on the screen reached out too, just a moment behind. Then a new line of text appeared across the chat window. "Look behind you." When I turned, the room was empty. The silence pressed in from every direction, thick and humming like the air before a storm. My heart was pounding so violently that it drowned out everything else. The faint hum of my computer, the distant city outside, even my own breathing. But on the screen, someone was standing right behind me. The image was blurred. The figure stretched unnaturally tall, their outline bleeding into static. The red haze that covered their face pulsed like a heartbeat, growing brighter every second, as if whatever it was could feel my fear feeding it. My throat locked. I couldn't even scream. My mind screamed move, but my body wouldn't listen. The figure didn't move closer. It didn't have to. Just standing there behind me, silent and distorted, was enough to make the air felt colder, heavier. My reflection trembled in the glass of the screen, overlapping with that impossible shadow until I couldn't tell which one was me anymore. Then something flickered at the edge of my vision, just a sliver of motion near my shoulder. I spun, every nerve on fire. Nothing. Empty space. Only the faint hum of my dying laptop and the dim red light bleeding across my walls. I stumbled backward, my legs tangling in the chair. It toppled with a sharp crash that echoed like a gunshot in the small apartment. My laptop slid off the desk and hit the floor hard. The screen shattered into fractured glass and the feed vanished, gone in an instant. Blackness. For a heartbeat there was nothing but silence. No static, no hum, just the quiet weight of my own heartbeat in my ears. I stood there, shaking, staring into the darkness, afraid to breathe too loud. I told myself it was over, that maybe it had been some kind of elaborate visual trick or a virus designed to mimic fear. But then my phone buzzed. The vibration cut through the silence like a scream. It rattled across the table, the light blinking once. Unknown number. I hesitated. My thumb hovered above the screen. I didn't want to open it, but I had to. The message was short, stark, written in pure white text against a red background. "Don't disconnect again." The words hit me harder than anything else that night. Not a threat, a command. Whoever or whatever it was, they were still watching, still inside. I dropped the phone like it burned me. It landed face down, the red glow bleeding across the table. I didn't even bother turning off the lights. I just ran. I left my apartment that night and didn't go back for days. I slept in my car, in parking lots, in the corners of crowded cafes where the noise was loud enough to drown my thoughts. Every shadow looked red, Every reflection flickered, but something behind it was trying to catch up. When I finally went back home, everything was wrong. The air felt different, heavier, like the room was still breathing without me. And my laptop was gone, completely gone. But the smell of burned plastic and overheated circuits lingered, faint but unmistakable. My drawers were open, my notes scattered. Every account I owned, email, bank, cloud storage, was wiped clean. My photos, my passwords, my work, erased. I called the police. They came, looked around, took statements. They told me it was probably a hack, a scam meant to scare people. One of them even laughed a little, said I was lucky it wasn't worse. Lucky. They didn't see what I saw. They didn't hear the voice that whispered my name through static. They didn't feel the weight of someone standing inches behind them when no one was there. I wish I could believe it was over. But I know better. Now, months later, I still wake to the flicker of red light on my walls. It doesn't happen every night, only when I start to believe it's over. I'll be asleep, dreaming of something ordinary, and then the glow seeps through my eyelids like blood through water. My heart starts pounding before I even open my eyes. The color stains everything. My ceiling, my hands, the edges of my blanket. It looks almost alive, pulsing in slow, deliberate rhythms, like it's breathing with me. I tell myself it's a reflection from outside, a passing car, a glitch in the wiring. But deep down, I know that light doesn't come from anywhere outside. Sometimes in the dead of night I hear faint clicking. Tiny, rhythmic, deliberate. The sound crawls out from the shadows, soft as rain, but too steady to be random. It sounds exactly like typing, like fingers pressing keys just a few feet away. I sit up, listening, holding my breath. The sound always stops the second I move, leaving a silence that feels even worse. My room is small, familiar, safe, or it used to be. Now every shadow feels occupied, every reflection holds something waiting. My new computer boots up by itself sometimes. I'll be across the room, half dressed for work, and hear the low hum of the fans spinning up, the soft chime of the system starting. I try to ignore it, to act like it's just a malfunction, but when I turn to look, the screen is already on, waiting, like an eye that just opened. Then the webcam light flickers to life. Just 1 second, sometimes less, long enough to catch my reflection. Only it's never quite me. The expression in that reflection always lags, just a fraction of a second behind, smiling when I'm not, blinking slower, staring longer than I should. I've taken it apart twice. I've thrown out the cables, replaced the hard drive, scrubbed every trace of data. Still, it happens. The system always comes back. Fresh installations, new passwords, it doesn't matter. It's like something followed me, not through the network, but through the moment I clicked that link. Like a virus that doesn't live in code, but in attention. I tell myself it's paranoia. I try to believe that the red room isn't real, that it was all just an illusion. Bad code, adrenaline, fear feeding itself until it felt like truth. I keep my phone off now, my curtains drawn, my mirrors covered. I go days without touching a screen, but it doesn't matter. The glow still finds me, because sometimes when the room is quiet, when the world outside has gone completely still, I can still hear that whisper through the static, low, patient, like it's been waiting the whole time. The sound crackles from somewhere unseen and deliberate, each syllable slow, precise, almost tender. Welcome back, Idris. And every time I hear it, I know the truth I keep trying to deny. I never left.